The problem with people is they don't want actual advice. They want reassurance on their bad idea. And that was tweeted by Young Ads and very pertinent to this episode. So that's the quote, the opening quote of this episode. Hello and welcome to the Toy Talks podcast. If you don't know me, you're new here, welcome. Welcome to the Toy Talks fam. My name is Toy Washington, and every Tuesday I bring a brand new episode of the Toy Talks podcast. On this podcast, we teach, guide and educate Black women how to navigate the world of work safely and in turn highlight the path of our success. I have been in the working world since I was 15 years old, and I've been through so much, but I'm able to sit here comfortably and say I'm a successful Black woman in the world of work. I can evidence it. You want a bank account? And also I've worked for some really major organisations, Goldman Sachs, PwC, Inmarsat Global, Capita, to name but a few. And I come here and I share all my experiences and basically provide the blueprint for my fellow Black queens to be able to attain success, understand how to navigate the world of work, but more importantly, for us to have a safe space to share, talk, learn and grow. And on the Toy Talks podcast, it's 2 Black women, 4 Black women, about Black women, and that's never gonna change. This episode is brought to you by Toya Washington. This episode is called London Boys. I want everybody to gada. Open your ears, clean out your ears, open it, gather. Please, if you have any notepad, if you have any friend, bring them. Open your group chats. Black women. We're in a pandemic. And I'm not talking the COVID type. I'm talking the London Boys type. We're in a pandemic, a whole damn pandemic. Now, for all my international sisters, when we say London Boys as a pandemic, it's not the actual London Boys. Well, it is in our case, but it's the endemic nature of their behavior that's infiltrating all the men. All of them and them. And this is why I thought, you know what? Bring it to the podcast. We work so hard as Black women, yeah? Because we understand the dynamic of the world of work. We get it. That's why we're able to gather in community here to talk. And we understand as Black women that the way society describes us, treats us, and then we go and see the violence each and every day in the world of work. We understand that from a career perspective, we have to pattern all the way up. We have to give them no excuse to say no or to attempt to other us in the process and pursuit of our careers. It doesn't mean that just because we're best in class in what we do and they hire us, that it completely removes, the opportunity that non-Black people take in trying to strip us of our Blackness and our dignity. We encounter it every single day when we walk into the world of work. But as Black women that get up every day to go and face the world, we are carrying a lot. We carry the trauma because we're not given an opportunity to work through the trauma before we go back into the world of work that has created that trauma for us. And then we have to deal with the trauma bonds because a lot of us are bonded to our trauma as we're trying to work through our trauma. Some of us are not even working through our work-related trauma and then find ourselves being triggered. And then there is a vicious cycle. So we already know that we work hard, we navigate, and we have to navigate differently from our white counterparts. We get all that. We speak about that. That's nothing new. But after all said and done of the hard work, of the sacrifice, the sweats and the cold sweats, the sleepless nights, we work until we can't work no more. We navigate in a way that is so exhausting to our existence, but we do it. We do it because when we're trying to shatter those glass ceilings, we understand we have to get up to be able to shatter anything. We've got to be proactive in our pursuit for success. We do not benefit from white privilege because we are not white. We are black women and we are queens. We descend from queens. And every so often, our crowns are tilted. Our crowns are attacked. And it is exhausting navigating in spaces that deliberately try to strip us of our dignity. What we are saying in the world of work is we are going to put the work in and we're going to work our finger to that bone. And when I say work our finger to the bone, I don't mean working 10 hours, 12 hours. That's not. The finger to the bone is making the sacrifices to be best in class. You have to work your ass off to be best in class because not everybody can be best in class. Do you understand? Can you catch the word? Can you catch what I'm saying to you? So after all of that, walking in the wilderness, the valley of the shadow of fearing evil and everything, dealing with these dirty dinosaurs and swines, after patterning ourselves up, then we just give it all up for a man. Yeah, we just off our pants. And as we off our pants, we off everything we have worked hard for. We give it to a man. Because we are so grateful that this man has even looked at us and he wants to be with us. That some of us really forget ourselves. And I know where it comes from. It comes from a place of wanting something so much. It comes from a space of not loving ourselves enough. It comes from a space of feeling displaced gratitude. These people should be excited to be with us because we are the prize. Queens, I'm here to tell you as black women, we are the motherfucking prize. We are the prize. I look at myself in the mirror and I tell myself I am the prize because I am the prize. I walk as though I am the prize. My shoulders are high. Both of them, they're high because I am the prize. I am the prize. Because when you talk life into you, you will breathe it out. Can I catch an amen? Can I catch it? When you breathe life into yourself, you breathe life out too. If you want to receive greatness, you have to put it out. But what we cannot do, queens, is compromise our dignity and our integrity in the pursuit of that happiness. And then we move on to Steph London. Yes, honey. Yes, honey. We are in the court of public opinion, and I reserve the right to share my opinion on the Toya Talks podcast, Queens. So we all know what happened last week with Steph London. But I feel as though we need to move past the drop of the mixtape. We're going to talk about that. But we need to see the learning lessons in our dear sister. Now, I've never really been a fan of Steph London. I'm telling you for fact. Because of the alleged colorist tweets that surfaced a few years ago. And she just gives me these vibes that I can't really I'm not really, do you understand? I'm not convinced by her. I feel like Steph, maybe you've already addressed those the alleged colorist tweets or conversations or whatever was had, and the reference to Africans and allegedly, yeah, because it's all alleged because we didn't hear it out of her mouth. But for me, I have more respect. Well, I'm never going to respect that, first of all. But I have more respect for people who stand up and take responsibility and do the work. Yeah? And do the work. Because no one is above mistake. But it's about how you do the work to self-educate and to make changes on a practical level. It's not the verbal changes, it's the practical changes. So you frequenting Africa, Nigeria, Ghana and all that, I mean, I was going to say it was a step until, I had to really just think to myself, why are you doing that like that? So Steph London, she released this snippet. And in the snippet, she basically called it, first of all, now we all know that she used to date Burna Boy. They were together. There's so many interviews with Steph on her own, Steph with Burna Boy. Steph, there was an interview that she had done where she said that she's going to marry Burna Boy. She was out there. She claimed, and that was her husband. As far as she was concerned, her husband. She gonna marry him. She was breathing life out of what she that's what she wanted. She was talking about it. Now, to provide context, Steph London, maybe you listen to her music, maybe you don't. I'm not a huge fan. However, her songs are catchy. So you got a new girlfriend, but it's her, me. Yeah, girl, it was catchy. I was even playing it. Steph London did bits. Her career soared here in the UK. She was charting. I know she had management in the UK. I think it was the Migos manager in the UK, in the US. So Steph has made her money. She lives in a mansion. Her family live with her. Like, let's not underestimate or discredit her achievements. As a black woman in the music industry, Steph London has done very, very well. And obviously, in his own right, Burna Boy is, he calls himself the giant of Africa. But let's be honest, Burna Boy is not only just an entertainer, but he is seriously gifted. Now, I remember the first time Burna Boy did his concert here in the UK. It's the first time after 10 years in quote-unquote exile, and we won't get into that. It was his first concert, and it blew me away. I've been to concerts, like, at the start of, like, Wizkid's career. I went to Wizkid's concert, Olamide, One Day Cole, you name it. I've seen all of them in concert before. But Burna Boy will always go down in history of being the one concert that really transformed music for me, because he gave us a concert, not a concert. He gave us a concert, okay? It was lit. So obviously, Steph London, Burna Boy, would you call them evenly yoked? On the surface, I guess you kind of would, right? Music industry doing really well in their own right, and they come together. But the most important thing about them coming together was that they already had their independent platforms. Do you understand? So they were together for a while. There's a lot of things that came out that he was cheating on her. There was one content creator turned YouTuber turned, I don't know, Joe Pearl. She's very beautiful. And she basically shared that she'd been seeing Burna Boy allegedly. And, Steph doesn't address it. She just said indirect, queen of indirect, always an indirect. Yeah? Cool. So now, obviously, Burna Boy and Steph London have broken up. And I have previously mentioned Steph London on the podcast before. But for the purposes of this episode called London Boys, as far as I'm concerned, Burna Boy is an honorary London boy. And why do I call him an honorary London boy? If it wasn't for his past alleged indiscretions, he would have been raised here in the UK. He's a Nigerian boy, hail from Port Harcourt, but he would have been raised in the UK. But he has London boy behaviour. Spends a lot of time here. A lot of his friends are here. London boy. And remember, I said London boys. It's a pandemic. Yeah, the behavior, their attitude, their whole persona, the things that come out of their mouth, we want to split the bill, all of that bullshit is London boys. I'm here in London, so I can only talk about London boys. And me as a woman, I have dated London boys, so I'm bringing my experience here. It is a pandemic. It's getting out of hand. That's why I've brought it to the podcast. We must gather here and gather our sisters. Let's all learn. So obviously, Burna Boy releases Last. She then does like these slide digs, first of all, and she basically alludes to the fact that she's about to release a diss track. And then she just protracted to her thing. Even me, I was hyping. I was happy. I was like, you know what, Steph? Good on you. Because when you was with him, he couldn't even give you Burna Boy on no track. Yeah? As far as they were together, there was no collaboration. I didn't hear any ad-libs from Burna Boy. He did not co-sign her. And I'm not saying he needed to co-sign her, but if you are with one of the biggest acts hailing from Nigeria, you would at least get a, Burna Boy. You didn't get shit. She didn't open any shows for him. He didn't open any shows for her. But I'm talking about when a man comes into a woman's life, he also is there to pour life into her. Pour life. This is why I say date somebody, be in a relationship with someone who you're evenly yoked with, because it is a give and take. And as far as I'm concerned, if you're coming to portray yourself as Mr. Alpha, you need to do Alpha and Omega in my life. That's just the thing. Okay? As far as I'm concerned, Steph London didn't get nothing out of that relationship. Apart from, in my opinion, good dick. Because she stayed there for a long time. So in my opinion, that's why she stayed. Because for me personally, I don't understand what she got out of it. Now, Burna Boy, on the other hand, he got a lot of that out of it because he tapped into her audience that maybe didn't even know about Burna Boy. He tapped into her audience, that mainstream audience that I feel like still hadn't been, they still didn't really understand Burna Boy. Now, when they fused together, what happened was she introduced him to her market. Facts! He did not introduce her to his market. She never was on stage with him. What I did see her was in the club. She was in the club after the concert, celebrating the concert with him. And you know what? You could tell, like, when I look at Steph and I look at old videos on these blog sites, you can tell that she loved him more than he loved her. And let me tell you something, queens. A man needs to love a woman more than a woman loves a man, because a man is supposed to be a woman's covering. You understand? And I'm talking from the perspective of me, Toya, as a heterosexual woman. That's my experience. So I'm speaking from a position of experience. I cannot speak from another position because I've not been in another position. This is my experience. So for me personally, a man is supposed to be a woman's what? Covering. So that means when you're doing Giant of Africa, you have to be the giant to cover. This didn't happen. Steph London did not receive anything other than a +1 to award shows. This is what I'm seeing. This is in my opinion. So now when she came to say that she's going to release a diss track, I thought to myself, you know what, sis? Get your coins, because when you was with him, he didn't even spit you an ad-lib. He didn't even have you on his... The man was with you. I think he released 3 albums while he was with you. You wasn't even on one. You wasn't even a feature, sis. Not even a feature. Imagine a whole Giant of Africa. What you did do, you go to the Nigerian embassy and get a visa to go to frequent Nigeria. What did you get out of it? I'm sorry. Women, we need to be very, very open and honest with ourselves. Love, one tin, wanna make a bad man say, it's not enough. Love is not enough. Love is not enough, darlings. I've got to be honest. Love is not enough, because after the strong thing is real life. That's the fact. Love is not enough. I am with a man that covers me. I am with a man that pours into me. Do you understand? Because in order for us to fuse as a union, we both have to come together to breathe life into each other. Remember I told you guys about dating? We have an episode about that. There are qualities I have that Kay doesn't have. There's qualities Kay has that I don't have. You bring us together, we make a perfect blend. Our imperfections are perfectly aligned for each other. Simple. So some of you that are doing love and wanting to, you need to think practically. You need to listen. I was looking for something that I've seen Steve Harvey say, and I couldn't find it, but I'm going to say it off the top of my head. He basically said, if you are going on a date with men that can't even pay for your food, he can't even feed you. That's what he's basically saying. Some of you are dating men that can't even feed you. You ladies are dating men that are not to your standard. Some of you are dating a man to your standard. But when you take a step back, what are you getting from him? But he's getting from you. It don't make no sense. Let us not be a Steph London. Because Steph London, this is why now she's now resorted to these cheap ploy at attention. It's attention seeking. The worst part of it is, I thought Steph London was going to release the diss. And let me tell you something. I'm a nosy goat. I'm nosy. Have you seen my nose? Nosy. I want to know what happened in that relationship, because we all like messy. That's why we watch reality shows. Yeah? We are all voyeurs. We like to live vicariously through other people by looking at their lives. Let's be honest. I wanted to know if he cheated, because I know he did. I wanted to know from Steph, is it how we're seeing it? Is that how you're receiving it, sis? That you didn't get shit out of that relationship, but he benefited. And when he finished benefiting, he took himself back to be the Giant of Africa, back to Africa and Nigeria. And the worst part of it is, she didn't even open any shows for him. Like, you both are musical people, but yet the music didn't flow into Steph the way she allowed her her audience to flow into him, and he took it and he ran. So this one that she was doing, first of all, I was like, sis, you know what? First of all means the beginning. We need to know what happened from the beginning, sis. And you know what? I felt like the general consensus was, you know what? We ain't going to judge you for this, because you know what, Steph? You didn't get what you were supposed to get. So if this is your first of all, it's cool, because he dissed you in that track. That track last, if you listen to the words, hey, in another life, you could be my wife. So this life is not enough for her to be your wife. It's in another life. So you need her to change again. That's some crazy stuff. That's the things that he said in there. I just thought maybe he was talking about someone else, but for the purposes of messiness, as far as we're concerned, he was talking about Steph. And I'm not saying Steph needs to lower herself to be slinging mud, but I'm thinking, babes, the whole time you was with him, your career was on pause. You weren't releasing no new music. You weren't doing shit. You were doing love, wanting to make a bad man sing. That's what you were doing. Love and wanting. And I think what bothers me about Steph is that she was so willing to put her careers, and she had more than one, on pause for a man. So all that striving, all that sacrifice, all that hard work, all that producing, all that late night sacrifice, all them cold sweats, you paused your career because of a man. And now you're no longer with him. You decide to do what we thought was a diss track, only to turn around and tell us to mind our own business, that you're not going to do a diss track. That was the most hype you've had since pre-Burner. That's the most hype you've had. And then you came to tell us that you're releasing your album in August. Burna Boy's releasing his new album in June, sis. That was a wave that you should have ridden, because you've been missing the line, missing the door for many, many months, sis. He took you for Egypt. Sorry, London boy behavior. Burna Boy did London boy behavior. And the worst part of it is, I don't even think that Steph London actually understands that if she had released a diss track, and it didn't even have to be disrespectful, she could have kept it surface level, that would have resurrected her career. Because her I'm sorry, in my opinion, her music career is in a mortuary. Sorry. But the worst part of it is Steph is so talented. It's unbelievable. The woman is talented. As far as I'm concerned, she's talented. There were these tracks that she released on her TikTok. She only left one of them up, but there was quite a few of them. And I listened to them over and over and over again, because number one, I couldn't believe it was Steph. Number two, she's so beautiful in her creativity. Like when she's in her creative element, she just is stunning inside out. Creativity and music lives in her. So when she is performing, on that TikTok, she was just there, and I thought, sis, this is you. And I saw that light again that I hadn't seen for a while, because sis was in Africa living her life, so we didn't see the light again. You understand? Why is it that some women feel that they need to trade in that light for a man? Why can't you come as yourself? Why do you have to trade anything? When you forsake your identity for a man, when he forsakes you, you ain't got nothing left. You're gonna have to start all over again. And this is why we have a line full of bitter people, bitter women. Because a lot of these women, if you ask them and have a conversation with them, they'll tell you what they sacrificed for. Why does love and being in a relationship have to come with you sacrificing yourself? But he never sacrifices anything. He doesn't sacrifice himself. You don't have to sacrifice who you are for a relationship, because the moment you do, you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, that is like a ticking clock to the end of the relationship. When I met Kay, I wasn't where I am now, but I was on the road. Let's call it what it is. When we came together, I will be completely honest with you, Kay allowed me to tap into the business mind that I was told I didn't have. because Kay provided me with structure. And I never had structure because I was very much living in the clouds. Yeah. When my dad died, the cloud popped, the balloon popped, the bubble popped. And I had a crash landing down to earth, and I couldn't cope with life because my dad made the world make sense to me. So when he died, I was now trying to understand who I was as a person, but also how I'm going to exist in a world that to me was just so confusing without somebody to help me, who was my dad. So obviously I've told you guys before, and I'll tell you again, I dedicated my life to my career, and I don't look back. I don't look back. I do not look back. It's one of the best things I ever done, because when I dedicated my life to my career, from the struggle, the trauma, the pain of the world of work, from those experiences, gave birth to Toya Talks, gave birth to a platform that helps thousands of women internationally. So I have no regrets. But in order for me to have a business mind, I needed structure. I needed somebody who was able to cover me in a way that I needed to be able to cultivate my creativity. Kay is the person that when I want to do something in my business, he's the sounding board. This is what I'm going to do, Kay. This is the direction I see this platform going in. And he sits there and says, well, have you thought about this? What are the risks? He holds me accountable. There are so many things that Kay brings into my life that I know for a fact has made me better. And I know it's made me better because it's flowed through all the different parts of my business, my career, my life, and they have yielded results. And the same for Kay. I brought to Kay that Nigerianness that I think that he needed to structure certain things. Yeah. I was able to teach him things that he did not know before. Not because of anything, but just because he was with somebody who had what he didn't have. And I was with somebody who had what I didn't have. And we came together. Now, Kay will very well tell you, everything I have brought from my businesses, everything, I did that with my own hands. Everything Kay has done with his career, with his business ventures, Kay has done with his own hands, with his own investment. He's done it. And as far as I'm concerned, there is no way whatsoever that I was ever going to forego, for example, my career or anything for a relationship. After all, Kay wasn't even living here in the UK. He was in Belgium. You didn't see me saying to myself, right, how can I give up my job so I can go to Belgium? No. Kay had plans to come to the UK before he met me. He just now had a purpose to come to the UK. But some women are willing to forego their career to start again. Why is it that women have to forego themselves to start again? What is it about us needing to tap into the uncomfortability of starting again for a man? How many men are going to start again for you? Why should there be a starting again? Why can't they be a restart? Why have you got to start again? And starting again means from nothing. But we started with nothing, we've made something. We're so willing to just give it up. Like, is that like an insecurity thing? Is it a self-esteem thing? These are questions we need to ask ourselves. For the very same reasons, a lot of women stay in relationships longer than they need to. Honey, you can't stay in a relationship because of a passage of time if you know that that relationship does not work, because life is too short. I digress. What disappoints me about Steph is that this was her redemption for me. Redeeming herself, for herself, to herself, about herself. Because when I look at her in pictures and videos, I can see the pain in her eyes. And do you know what, it's crazy, because a couple of weeks ago, I even said to Kay, I says, how must Steph be feeling knowing that she's not with this guy, but she can't get away from him because he's in her industry. And every time he finds somebody off TikTok to open up a show for him, that is a show that he never allowed her to open for him when they were together. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I feel like Steph and Burna Boy were in a relationship, and I don't see what Steph benefited from it at all. But let that be an example, because so many of us are so willing to give up what we have, or what we do. Oh, there's one thing that we do. You've created your own business. You've created your own business. You've worked hard. No one gave you shit from the ground up. And some of you will then emasculate your man. Toya, why is it an emasculation? It's an emasculation because, in my humble opinion, husbands and boyfriends need their own hustle. Husbands and boyfriends need their own hustle. If you truly understand the essence of a man, not him not having his own hustle is an emasculation, because what will happen is he will find his masculinity in your success, and it will mean he'll need to crush you to make himself more dominant, so he feels that you respect him even though it's yours. Are you hearing me? The people at the back, are you awake? Sit up with your shoulders. Let your crown sit straight, because I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. You cannot build a business for yourself. This business is yours. You've worked hard. And in order for you to, I don't know what it is. Actually, it's not in order for you. I actually don't understand it. Then you will say to this man, come and be the director of my business. Come and work with, what is all that? What is that? Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I think there's situations where couples build businesses together. That's different. But what I'm talking about is a man piggybacking on the back of a black woman who has sacrificed and worked hard for her business. You met this man and you had that business. Suddenly now the business is no longer yours, it's ours. That's some bullshit. That is on bullshit. Toya Talks, I'm the director, I'm the secretary, I am the mate, I'm the only shareholder. I'm not sharing it with Kay. It's not his, it's mine. It's my business. I'm not sharing it. It's mine. Kay has his business. He's not sharing his businesses. Kay's got 2 businesses. He's not sharing. That is his. Those belong to him. They're registered to him. He's the director. He's not giving them up. Why should he? Why can't he stand independently as Kay with his businesses? And why can't I stand independently as Toya in my businesses? And then when we come together, we share ideas. We use each other as a sounding board. You see, when you have your own hustles, you have something to talk about, isn't it? You have something to talk about. There's some respect there. You understand? He cannot be my employee. It's not going to work. Because at some point, he's going to want to assert himself. He's going to want to assert himself because he is going to want to feel like he's also the boss. You can't have 2 captains in one ship. We saw what happened to the Titanic. You cannot have 2 captains in a ship. I'm the captain of my businesses. Kay is the captain of his businesses. Kay is the captain of his career. I'm the captain of my career. What we can be is a powerhouse. Oh yes, we can be a powerhouse where we come together and we create something together. Yes, that's different. But it's as if, I've built Toya Talks. You guys know the story of Toya Talks. You know where that has come from. Then suddenly you'll be hearing Kay on the podcast. I say, hi guys, welcome to Toya Talks and Kay Talks. That's mad. That's actually mad. But some of you are so infected by these London boys, this pandemic of London boys, that you forget yourself. And as you forget yourself, you are fully immersed in what you think is a relationship. That's not a relationship, that's a dependency. Because if you've now given everything up for him, or he's now taken over, he's now coming to be the director, he's now dependent on you to make that money, honey. So who's going to be telling who what to do? Are you going to be giving him shares? And then y'all get married, and if it doesn't work out, what's going to happen? Please pay attention to Kenya Moore in The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Please pay attention to her. She was with a man that was mad, in my opinion. That narcissistic, weird guy, yeah? He had his own restaurant. He owned his own restaurant. Kenya had been doing TV. She's been doing her own thing, pageant queen. She's living her life. You know that she worked hard for that Moore mansion. Honey, she worked hard for that Moore mansion. Can you tell me why the man that she's trying to divorce, who is now going to be her ex-husband, is trying to claim for spousal support, and he wants half of the house? That's what happens when you forget yourself. He's so comfortable that he thinks he deserves half the house. There's something we're missing here. There's something we're missing. Kenya, we need the whole story, because 2 and 2 is equaling 5, and it don't make sense, baby. Shall we talk about Mary J. Blige? Oh, let's talk about Mary J. Blige. Let's talk about it. Mary J. Blige, real love. I'm searching for a real love. Someone to better my heart. And then she met that, is it his name, Ken Dodd? Or what's his name? If you know the story of Mary J. Blige, you will cry tears. Everything is everything is everything. What's the 411? What do you know about Mary? Mary, don't be your slow. That woman also. Multi-millionaire, platinum artist, you name it. Mary J. Blige is a legend in her own right. Should we talk about her recent acting debut? Girl, been doing it. But Mary J. Blige has always had very sad eyes ever since she got married to that guy. She had sad eyes. I don't know where she collected that man from. God only knows. Before you know it, he was her manager. Lord Jesus. A manager. A man that you came to pick from where you picked. You didn't pick him from management school. You picked him from somewhere. But because you were searching for the real love, you thought he was there to better your heart. He didn't better your heart, darling. He broke it, shattered it into 2, demolished your heart, and then took half of everything that woman had. Do you know that Mary J. Blige was paying him alimony? He basically tried to say, allegedly, that he made her. Made what, honey? This man doesn't even look like he can boil rice. What did you make? What did you make? You couldn't make yourself. It's Mary J. Blige that you said that you went to make. Do you know it was only up until a few years ago this woman was taking on shows to pay him off? Oh, when I heard this story, it really makes my heart break. It makes my heart break. Because I'm looking at this beautiful legend of a black woman who has sown seeds into her career, made sacrifices. This woman has gone on tour. This woman has released album. You think it's easy to be an artist? It's not though. They will tire. This is even before they've been signed. Then when you're signed, they pay you in advance. You have to pay that back. Then you have to hope to God that by the time you make it, that you signed a good contract. Otherwise, honey, all that work, you will not see the money. Look at Megan Thee Stallion. That one is even in stress now because of contract. Mary J. Blige, in this life, she just wanted love. You know that. When you look at Mary, you know what it is. She's so unproblematic. But a woman is talented. When Mary is ready to sing for you, you will just... In fact, you even... If you have bank card, you even give daddy your thing. She's amazing. Amazing. She married a man that she was evenly yoked with. Let's call it what it is. She married a man that she was... But before she married that man, they were dating. I don't know if it's the strong thing that kept her there. We do not know. She married this man. When I saw him, I was like, who is he? And then he was managing her. This is what I mean. You create the business, and then rather than you separate it from this man, you now want to make it a family business. Sorry. You can't... Listen. Family business is when you both come together to build that family business that didn't exist. Not you having done the hustle. Then you will add him, and then he'll add his other children or whoever he wants to add. That's not a family business. That becomes a dependent. Let me help you understand. He cheated on Mary, allegedly. He cheated on Mary J. Blige. And of all the hurt and pain, and then apparently there was a lot of stories about money going missing, allegedly. It's all alleged though. But the one that pains me the most is you cheated, you treated her like shit, you did all types of shit. And up until a few years ago, instead of this woman to be relaxing, she's now having to go on tour, take on shows to pay him off on the alimony. I think she's paid it off now. Can you imagine a career spanning over 25 years? Over 25 years. Then he was part of it for a couple of years. And you're paying him out as if he made you. That's mad. That can send people crazy. And if you see Mary J. Blige, she still has very sad eyes. Very sad. And I'm so happy for her that now, you know, like the whole acting thing on Power, she's absolutely amazing actress. When God was given talent, God said, I'm going to give you all of this talent. All of it in high dose. Because God knew that she would need some type of covering when she come out of this. So he's given her another revenue stream. God has given this woman another revenue stream. And remember, this guy that she was married to, he had his own kids. He's had his own kids. So they're coming with their own entitlement. They came with their own entitlement, is a fact. Brianna, one of the, I think her stepdaughter is called Brianna. She's in one reality show here. I can't remember. And she was even angry because she was like, she divorced my dad. It's like she divorced me. Girl, you are a grown woman. You want to be leeching as well off this woman. Listen, she wasn't your stepmom for that long, girl. Let's not go there. Let's not go there. But if we do not learn these lessons from some of these celebrities, and we see it happen on a public stage, you don't learn these lessons, we're going to be like that. You see, that Ken Dodd, I think his name is Ken Dodd, he's a London boy. London boy. Yeah, that's their behavior. That's their behavior. You know, I saw this quote, like I was listening to this podcast, and this black woman, she says, most men like to get a woman that's already where she needs to be so that he can just come on and join her ride. That's a London boy. I'm sorry. Because a lot of us were in this goldfish bowl of thinking that our dating pool is just London boys. So our experiences of London boys are very similar. We've been really flogged by them. This is why you'll go to Clubhouse or to Twitter Spaces and you'll be hearing these London boys saying to you that when they go on a date, they expect you to pay half, or on the third date, they expect you to pay. Or these London boys, they will come, infiltrate you and your life, and then think that they're entitled to anything that flows out of it. London boys. The one that drove us crazy was in a London boy. Yeah. And their behavior now, it's a pandemic because it is seeping into all these men. You'll go to these Clubhouse rooms, and if it's not for the accent of the American accent, you will think these are London boys. Because what happens is these London boys, their behavior, they will start telling each other, they tell everybody, this is how they behave, and this is how they start treating us. Women, black women, we need to pattern up. Pattern the fuck up. Pattern up. Let me tell you something. Wendy Williams is a classic example. Wendy! Let's talk about, should we talk about Wendy Williams? The story is sad. This is a woman that was hustling. She was on radio. We know the story. If you don't already, there is a biopic of her life. Then she gets with her husband, or her former husband. Again, she made him her manager. What management experience do you have? Hustling the streets is not a management vocation. What is that? He now became her manager. Now, let's be real. She attained success because of her talent, not because of his management. Because push came to shove, what happened? Was he not cheating on her? He had a baby on her. And the worst thing is, that was painful. Do you know the worst thing is? She brought him into her business. Yeah? That she had built from the ground up. And then he was cheating on her for many years. It's not like it was a 1 month, 2 month thing. Many years. Had a baby on her. And then I think she followed him or something one day and found the woman that he was cheating on her with driving Wendy's car. Wendy saw the woman driving her car. Can you imagine it? Entitlement, because her husband felt entitled to everything she had because she brought him into her business. So now he thinks it's his business, and now he's sharing the proceeds of her business like it's his. He's fronting. And now Wendy Williams, I don't know if it's a nervous breakdown that she's had. I don't know, but her slow. I don't even want to use that word, but what I have seen, like the fall from grace with Wendy Williams is painful. This is what I'm saying to you. Wendy Williams didn't start off like that. It's a man that made her that way. I'm so sorry. Because he was the catalyst to her fall from grace. He was. He cheated on her. Ever since it started to become apparent that he cheated on her, had a child on her, you saw Wendy Williams fall. You saw it. And we watched it happen. And a lot of people were very mean about it, because I know that she has said very disparaging things on her Wendy Williams show. Wendy has always been very messy, and in a way that is so malicious. But you know what? That's her brand. That was her brand. Everyone knew what they were getting into with her. But the one thing that you had to respect is that she built herself up. Yeah, she worked hard and she made them sacrifices. She was a mogul and a businesswoman in her own right before she even met this guy. But then I have to ask myself, like Mary J. Blige, Cherie Shepherd, Steph London, even though they weren't married, Mary J. What do they all have in common? These are all women that just wanted love. They just wanted love. And what they did was they gave up what they got and built for themselves, and they tried to do ours. That's what happened. That's what they all have in common. Ours. That's what happened. And I want us to really look at these celebrities and try and learn from them. Because sometimes what happens is the people that are going to be the biggest influence and examples are not necessarily going to be the people that you know. It's often going to be playing out in celebrity lifestyle and celebrity culture. Look at Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. Kanye West was a mogul all by himself. He didn't need Kim. Kim needed him. He compromised himself and he used her as a muse. And what she has now done is, rightly or wrongly, on both sides of that relationship, but she no longer needs him anymore. She's disposed of him like a can of Coke. She's disposed of him like a packet of Cheetos. She's disposed of him like a cold cup of coffee. Placed him in the dustbin. And she's gone to who she really wants to be with. And Kanye West, his mental health has taken a huge decline because of it. A huge decline. And this is this compromising ourselves to accommodate others. Now, whilst Kanye West may be a black man, and believe me you, a lot of the things that he has experienced, i.e. the disrespect that he's encountered and experienced from Kim Kardashian, he has a hand in it as well, let's not lie. Because when you were giving her access and all access pass to the black community, you wasn't thinking about your blackness as a black man and your community. But now you want your community to come and fight for you. Kanye, sit down and have several seats. But I don't overlook the fact that in all these relationships, because we're going to talk about it from a relationship level, when you feel like you have to sacrifice yourself and you have to sacrifice what you've worked for a relationship, it's no longer worth it. I'm sorry. Why does the success of a relationship have to come with what I'm able to lose myself and what I'm having to put aside? Why should that be? Why should a successful relationship be based on the fact that I've built myself up, I've worked really hard for everything I have. In order for me to be loved and validated, I have to carry you on my back. What is that about? Some of you need to think about what type of relationships you want. What type of a relationship do you want? What do you want? And this is why I keep saying, dating is so important to understand what you want. Dating is literally like going on job interviews. Both of you are going on job interviews. And both of you are being fake. Because you are not bringing your real selves to your first dates or your second dates. Probably not even your third. But the job is to find out if you can, number one, get to know this person. Get to know yourself through the dating process. Get to know who they really are by breaking down their barriers and getting to know what sits behind those eyes and really understanding whether this person is right for you, whether you guys are evenly yoked and compatible. But some of you don't want to go on that journey. No. Some of you just want love. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but love is not enough. Love is not enough to make a relationship work. It's not. Because if it was, then, you know, we'd all be in love and no one would ever have a divorce or a breakup because, do you understand, there's other things that are intrinsic into relationships. It's also how you both see the world. Upbringing is very important to a relationship because how you were brought up is often going to be played out in your relationships. What are your values? What are your social values? What are your emotional values? What are your psychological experiences that have led to your understanding of what values are? These are all the things that you're going to get to know as you navigate the dating world. But some of you don't want to have that conversation because some of you are so obsessed with being married that you're unwilling to take the time to go through the journey. Let's be honest. In Nigerian terms, I married quite late. Yeah, in Nigerian terms, I married quite late. But the London boy pandemic really took a hold in the dating pool. It really took a hold of the dating pool. Do you know when I started going through the dating process and opening my mind, being protective of myself, but opening my mind to the possibility, it was one of my friends, and I will never forget it to the day I die. He said to me, Toya, are you waiting for the second coming of Jesus Christ? You're not going to find this man underneath your bed in your house. Because I was never leaving my house. I was at work or I was studying. I was working and studying at the same time. I was living my best life. I'd done a lot in my life. So for me, it was like, I didn't even know how to date. I didn't understand. I just kind of thought maybe I'd be at a train station and a guy would come up to me and then his eyes would lock into mine and suddenly would fall in love. And that is not my reality. And as I was dating, I dated some real waste guys. I've shared it in the podcast with you. So it's not like, I shared a lot. That I dated some guys. I dated a guy, yeah. We were talking. We met on Tinder. We were talking for like a week. And then he ghosted me. I don't know if it was something I said. He ghosted me. You see, all of that fed up, upset, frustration was good for me. Because then it allowed me to really focus on being serious about dating. Because when you start dating initially, you're not that serious because you don't know what you're doing. You're drunk. And as you start to date, you start sobering up. Because then you start understanding what you are looking for. Do you understand? But then I always said to my dad, I said, Dad, you know what? The person I marry, first of all, I said to my dad, he's not going to be Nigerian. I know it. He's not going to be Igbo, Dad. I'm just telling you. Because me and Igbo men, we don't typically get on. I had very bad experiences with dating Igbo guys. It didn't end very well. And it just couldn't work because Igbo men are just, it just couldn't. It was a mess. Yeah? I said, Dad, I don't even think the man I'm going to marry is in this country. I'd say it all the time. Because it was just crazy. And also as well, like, it's such a goldfish bowl. Listen, I'm going to say this because I'm talking from experience here. You see how with our careers, I always talk to you guys about kind of being able to put yourself in a position to be a subject matter expert, being in a position to be able to pivot in your careers. So for example, I was always on the trajectory to be a lawyer. I decided after my master's in law, literally gone through the whole thing, law degree, went to law school, did my master's, and I was like, no, I don't want to be a lawyer. I was 6 months into my training contract. I didn't want to do it anymore. But I was able to pivot, and, you know, I kind of fell into contract management. I say fell into, but let's be honest, you know, from a legal perspective, we do contract law as a compulsory module. But I was able to pivot. I was able to pivot from a career perspective as well, because I've done my level 4 SIP. So if I wanted to do procurement and do sourcing work, I could do that. I could pivot. But in the same way you allow yourself opportunities to pivot in your career, or at least that's what I teach, and I try to demonstrate it to you. We have to pivot in our relationships. What do I mean? Well, you have to learn to pivot in your dating relationships. And what do I mean by that? You need to go into those settings on those dating apps and change it to worldwide. Did you hear me? Pivot. Long distance relationships are not long distance if you commit to closing the gap of the distance by actually dating and getting to know people outside of the goldfish bowl of the London boys. Kay was living in Belgium, and I was here in London. You know the story, I've shared it with you guys. And Kay always planned to come to the UK. I gave him the reason, and 5 years on, we are married. We got married a year ago, and we were dating. So Kay and I were dating for like 2 years before he came over to London. We lived with each other for a year, got engaged in year 4, got engaged in year 4 or married in year 4? Engaged in year 4. Yeah, no, engaged in year 3, married in year 4, and now we're in year 5. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, because a lot happened in what feels like a short space of time, but in 5 years. You need to open up your mind to the possibility that the person you're supposed to be with isn't in the goldfish bowl of the UK, isn't in London. You need to date responsibly and date safely, and I've always said that, but we have to be able to pivot these relationship streets. When I say relationship, I mean dating streets. Because dating is relationship. You're forming, conversations, and you're dating. And I feel like you need to open up your horizons, because the reality is, if you have a limited spec in terms of guys, everyone has the same limited spec. So what we all doing here, and the ratio of single women to single men, is that there's greater numbers of single women. The greater number. There is a pool of men all over the world that reach and tick your spec, but y'all ain't even talking to them because you guys not in the same area code. What kind of nonsense is that? Let me tell you, Kay had plans to come to the UK anyway, fair enough, but a man that really wants to be with you will move heaven and earth to be with you. And maybe it's a case of, listen, I know someone who met someone in the States. They dated for a few years, they got married, and she wasn't sure whether she wanted to go to the US. He wasn't sure if he wanted to come to London. And they decided that, she would go to the US, and she found an international company in the financial sector that she's in, and she's working for this American company, and she moved over there. She's living her best life. I ain't heard from her since. Won't you do it? Y'all gonna make a decision. What are you doing? What are you doing? How are you dating? I definitely feel as though, I've spoken quite a lot on this podcast, and I'm hoping that I have drawn the examples that really bring this episode to life. But more importantly, what I want to hammer home to all of you is, in order to be in a relationship, you don't have to give up yourself, because that's the seriousness of it. The reason why I'm so disappointed in Steph London is because I understand and recognise, I'm a girl's girl, I understand and recognise that some of us are in love with the idea of being in love. And I get it, sometimes we do silly things, like, we make silly decisions and all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, we're responsible adults. And we have to learn how to also call out bullshit. Call out bullshit. How many albums have Burna Boy had? She didn't do not one feature. He's releasing a new album in June. If she's on there, I'll be shocked. You know? And she had this one opportunity. It was like a golden nugget. And she flushed it down the toilet. And she went, mind your own business. Hang. So why did you do all of that? Why did you do all of that? Why? And the thing is, he's made you look silly twice. Because you're loyal to him in a way that he was never loyal to you. And you're being loyal even now, which is commendable. But what are you getting out of it? You're still no better off than when you were in a relationship with him. I'm not really understanding. Hell. But are we nosy? Yes. Do we like mess? Yes, we do. And that's why you did what you did. But all you did was basically make his download numbers on that last track go up, because everybody now is listening to the words. I listened to that track a couple of times. You sent more traffic to his new single. That's how I know he's got an album coming out in June. And then you're telling us about yours in August. No one cares, babes. No one cares. Unless you're now telling us that you've got a feature with Burna Boy on that album. Oh, I tell you, that was messy. But you know what I'm saying. I hope that you get the point of what I'm saying. And I always say, those who have ears, let them hear and receive. And I'm speaking from a position of someone who's been there, who's experienced it, who's had the heartbreak, the pain, the disappointment, the waste men. I've done it, you know, and I've been very honest about my experiences. And I'm not even going to sit here and say marriage is a walk in the park either. Marriage is difficult because, especially your first year, you know, it's different. You know, now you are actually have responsibilities to this person as he has with you or she has with you. And you're learning each other on a different level now. And, you know, I will go on record to say, I know there's a lot of couples that kind of didn't, you know, last past the pandemic. And the pandemic was basically the biggest test in my relationship with Kay and Kay's relationship with me. Because no couple should have to spend that long with each other day in, day out. But what happened was we got to know each other so well in a way that we wouldn't have had the opportunity to if the pandemic hadn't happened, because I now know fully what Kay does for a living. I really understand it. Kay fully understands what I do for a living. Kay fully understands my businesses. He fully understands my focus and why and my drive in a very enhanced level, because he watched me create those masterclasses. He watched me work with a family friend to create the website. He was there for all of that. You know, we came together in a way that we hadn't before because we was in a pandemic. We were in a position whereby we had no choice but to make it or break it type thing. And some people had to break it. But it actually brought out the best in our relationship, I'll be honest. And Kay and I are really, really close. Like, he's not just my husband, he's my best friend. He's my other best friend, because my dad will always be my best friend, but Kay is my best friend. He's my confidant. He is my sounding board. He's my heartbeat. He is the love of my entire life. And this is why during the pandemic we got engaged and we got married during the pandemic. And it will go down in history as one of the best decisions I've ever made. And he asked me to be his wife, and I said yes, and I've not looked back once. But it doesn't make the, you know, the first year of marriage easier. You know, there's still things that, you know, in relationships you're working on and you're striving for, and, you know, no relationship is perfect. And be under no illusion, my relationship is not perfect, but you know what? The imperfections of the relationships is perfect for us. And, you know, you work through things. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, a lot of people are not really understanding that when you're pursuing marriage, it ain't gonna work. You need to pursue getting to know someone, and you need to pursue building, and then the relationship will continue to evolve into a marriage, because not everybody that's together are supposed to be married, and that's on period. Some people are with people to teach you a lesson. Some people are in relationships so that you are preparing yourself for the man that you're about to meet or the woman you're about to meet. That's on period. How many of us have literally built a man, and I say built, In past relationships, we've built, because he wasn't a man when you met them, you built a boy into a man because he didn't come to you as a man. And then all the things he didn't do with you, when you break up, he's now asking somebody else, the person after you, to marry you. How many of us have been in that situation? My hand is up. He wasn't for you. You know, me and my friend were talking today, and she said something that, you know, my mum and my dad always used to say to me: what is for you will never pass you. What is yours is yours. What is yours will meet you. You understand? You look at others and they're your relationship goals. But when they're walking through the wilderness, why aren't they your relationship goals at that point? No one should be your relationship goals. Your goal in a relationship is at least have a healthy relationship. Let that be your goal. Stop putting people on this pedestal of goals. Oh, that's my relationship goal. That's on bullshit. Look at Jada and Will Smith. If toxicity had a couple, goddamn. You know, even Will and Jada, I haven't even spoken about them because I feel like there's a special place in a podcast episode for them, especially with Jada. Jada is absolutely unbelievable. In the same way I believe a man is supposed to be a woman's covering, a woman is supposed to cover a man. And there's a way a woman covers a man that is very uniquely different to the way a man covers a woman. And I don't know if y'all ready for that chat, but I'm ready to deliver it if you're ready to receive it. Yeah. And you know what the crazy thing is? I sit here and I think to myself, what did Burna Boy do for Steph? Like, what was it? Because I feel like she was professing so many things that if he did do anything for her, she would have told us. Because she was telling us everything else. She was going to marry him. She was this. She never told us, babes. And this is your opportunity. And you missed it. You flushed your opportunity down the toilet. And what for? Loyalty. He hasn't been loyal to you, girl. He has not been loyal to you. They say these hoes ain't them hoes ain't loyal for real. These London boys, some of these London boys ain't loyal, honey. They the real hoes. Sorry. So this allows me to move on to something. So I'm always saying, I've said it before in previous episodes, the importance of always having multiple revenue streams where possible. And you guys know how I've diversified my platform. I don't think I will ever be in a position where I would give up being a consultant. I love what I do too much I love it. I genuinely love what I do for a living, and I feel so grateful to God to have discovered my purpose in my career and, you know, found a niche for myself, become a subject matter expert. I love it. I run 2 businesses as well, and for me, you know, the podcast, social media and everything, I use them as creative outlets because that's how I am able to find balance in what I do. I know that my purpose and my direction in terms of Toya Talks is a gift. I see it as a gift, right? And every time I come to the podcast and I deliver an episode, I see it as an honor that you guys listen, receive it, and are able to act on it. I genuinely see it as a gift. But what really continues to surprise me is how, you know, a lot of people find fame through social media, and and I say fame inverted commas, but they find a revenue stream in social media. And the problem with social media is you don't own it. You don't. So if they switch it off or it crashes, that's your money. You guys must have heard of a TikTok star called Ihiz. I think his name Ihiz. Hopefully I'll pronounce it very well. And basically what's happened, if you don't know, or maybe you do, is that he offended the South Asian community. It was brought to his attention, and his apology was, first of all, his offence to the Asian community was born from a place of ignorance, and, you know, there's no condoning what was done. It was disrespectful, and it was brought to his attention. And in my opinion, he didn't even have the humility to understand where he went wrong. He was wrong and strong, and he paid the ultimate price now because they've pulled down his TikTok page. And I think he was on how many million followers on there, and he was making a lot of money. But you see, this is the problem, and it's twofold. Arrogance is a hell of a drug. He comes across as very arrogant to me. And, you know, seeing a black man doing well, using social media to propel himself is absolutely amazing. And that's what you want in our community. But I really hope that he used the money he made from TikTok to invest it in other revenue streams. Because what happens is there's an overnight success and there's forgetting that you do not own these platforms in which you are making money from. There is also there's also a lesson there for our community, our black community, in that we are often disrespected on social media, especially on TikTok. I've seen black faces, I've seen the level of disrespect and disregard for us as a community. I've seen racism, I've seen all types of things to our community. But yet other communities safeguard and police their gatekeep. And they do it in a way that, to be honest, is to be respected. But when we are disrespected as a black community, you don't see TikTok pulling down them pages. We're not doing enough as a community to police, safeguard and gatekeep our community. We're not doing enough. And what I respect about other communities is that they are. And as a community, we need to learn from them and we need to do better. That's another lesson there. It's really important that you are not at the mercy of just one platform, and that you're doing things away from social media and developing yourself and developing your business and finding other ways to diversify your business and your talent. And he's, I hope, has learned his lesson, is educating himself, and is also, I also think that level of success so quickly, I really hope he's got good people around him, and therapy is important as well, to be able to kind of decompress in a safe environment. And I don't know if he can come back from this. I don't even know if TikTok will ever give him his page back. And that is so sad, that all it would have taken is some humility and complete understanding where he went wrong and ownership of that. And it's a lesson to all of us, number one. But also number two is you cannot be at the mercy of one revenue stream. And that's why I refuse that for myself. I will never be the person that relies completely on brands for any type of sponsorships. Number one, I want leverage. I want to be able to walk away if it doesn't suit me. Number two, I'm just never that person that will be at the mercy of I'm just not that person. And number three, I think it's always important to have different revenue streams. Did we not learn that through the pandemic? Did we not learn that through the lockdowns? We're still in a pandemic, and it's not just the London boy pandemic. We're in the COVID pandemic still. The cost of living crisis, as a community, as a country, as a nation, as in the world, there's so much happening that it's important that we really learn the lessons from what's happening around us. That being said, you guys know I have the masterclasses on the toytalks.com website, and they're hosted on a site. So the back end, so what you guys see is different from what I see in the back end. So I have a shop front. And in the back end, it's hosted by a company called Selz, and Selz is absolutely amazing. It's spelled SELZ, and I've been on their platform for about 2 years, two to 3 years now. I'd say about 2.5 years, and that's where I've been able to kind of sell my masterclasses, promote my businesses, everything. It's been absolutely amazing. But recently, they notified all creators who use their platform that they are no longer going to be in existence anymore, which effectively means that they've been bought by Amazon, and Amazon are closing down that business. So as a result of that, I've had to find another platform to host my masterclasses. Can you see what I mean about having different revenue streams? Having different revenue streams is so, look at that. And that in itself is, I can't help that. Like when you sell things or when you're doing things, you have to use a host, you have to use a shop front. That's just, you can't run away from that. But I've got another business and I've got something else that I do, and I've got my career. Do you understand? So there's always something going on. I can't be at the mercy of anything. I can't. And because I have got different revenue streams, I'm able to reinvest in my business. I'm able to do certain things. So the reason I'm saying this to you is after today, you won't be able to purchase any more masterclasses until July. Because number one, I have found a new platform to host the masterclasses, but you won't see it as any different. And in order to do that, I have to migrate it. So anybody who has ever bought a masterclass, Jennifer is, she's amazing, but she's got a database of everyone's details, and she will be contacting you because we will be giving you the new links to the masterclasses that you've already purchased, so that you lose that continuation of service through the masterclasses. Number 2, there's something really special coming as well in July. So the ancestors have done it this way for a reason, and I'm so grateful, because when you see what's coming in July, it will all make sense. And sometimes it's important that you step away, take the time, breathe to come back. So the website will still be live, everything will still be live, but you won't be able to purchase masterclasses after today. So anyone who's purchased masterclass, you can still watch them up until a certain point. So I think the middle of June, and then what will happen is you will then receive over the coming weeks new links, and then in July we will have the masterclasses back on the website, and we've got some real surprises coming. You guys are going to love it. I'm so excited. But it's a lot of work that's happening in the background. It's not easy running a business. It actually is not. You know, it keeps me up at night, and there's a lot going on, to the extent that we're having to, I say consider, but hire another assistant to help out, because, you know, Jennifer does a lot for me. And those of you who've interacted with her, spoken with her, emailed, contacted her, she does a lot of stuff in the background, and, you know, she can't carry everything because it's now, you know, and I've got like quite a lot of bookings for towards the end of the year as well. So there's a lot happening, and it's all happening at the same time. So hopefully that all makes sense. So the masterclasses, if you're looking to purchase any masterclasses after today, you won't be able to until July. I'll let you know when they're back online again. Those of you who have already purchased, you've got about 2 weeks to continue watching them, and then you will receive a new link to the masterclasses you've purchased, so that you don't necessarily lose those masterclasses. Because for me, once you've purchased them, that's it. They're kind of yours to stream. I don't have a time period or expiration period, because I believe learning is every day, and I don't necessarily, I never thought that it'd ever be fair that I would say, right, you can only have it for 6 months. That's just not how I roll. You guys know what I'm like. But July, watch out, because something amazing is coming, and you all are going to love it. You're going to benefit from it, and you're going to understand why I'm so tired all the time. Anyway, I'm really excited, and I have to stop there before I blurt out what it is. But yeah, so just stay tuned. And if you're interested in the website, it's www.toytalks.com. I think I'm going to leave it there, you know. And I'm going to hope that those of you who need to receive the learnings of this podcast have received it. And I thank you all so much for trusting me to be able to deliver to you every Tuesday. I will also say that I'm really not happy with my laptop that I have. And in terms of like evolution and growing and stuff, I need to buy a new laptop, so I'm actually probably going to purchase it today. I need to get a Pro. I just think, yeah, I can hear this like little sound, and it's really irritating me, and I didn't want to have to buy a new laptop, but I'm going to have to, because when it comes to the podcast, not only is it for me like my heart, but it means so much to me, and I definitely believe in reinvesting in yourself. And in order for you to be the best, you have to have the best. So you have to be able to reinvest and develop and really put out there the quality that you want to receive. So the next time you hear me, it'll be with a new laptop that I'm going to purchase right now. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to thank each and every one of you for listening, for sharing the podcast, for DMing and reaching out to me. I want to thank you all for all your support, but also I want to thank you for really introducing people to the podcast and the platform who really need it. There's a lot of Black women who are still suffering in silence in the world of work, and they don't know the Toy Talks platform exists. But you all are just my marketing gurus, because you'll go out there and you'll share it, and you'll tell your colleagues and your friends, and they'll reach out to me and tell me, you know, my friend, my cousin, my sister, my auntie, my uncle, they told me about your podcast, and it's really helped me. And more than anything else, all I want to do is guide, teach and educate black women how to navigate the world of work and be successful. It's not just the navigation, it's also developing the tools and the skills to be successful in the world of work, because we all deserve success. And I keep saying to you all, define what success means to you, so then that becomes your objective. And you know, throughout this podcast journey and throughout the Toy Talks journey, I've remained devoted, and you all have really remained devoted to the platform, and I just want to thank you all. Also as well, the last episode I spoke to you all about Florence, and let's just say things are playing out, and in next week's episode I'm going to give you the conclusion to that, because it will be the conclusion. And in true Toy Talks fashion, one has remained dignified, professional, above board, but one has been fully loaded with the burn folder, the feedback folder, and being the subject matter expert in what I do has given me leverage. And once you have leverage, what does that mean? You have power. And when you have power, you have the opportunity to be able to sit at the desk, the table, and attend those meetings where they want to keep us out. And one thing that will remain true is that we are all queens, and we deserve the respect. We are not going to allow non-black people to think that they can treat us how they want to, because of colonialism, because of white supremacy, alleged white supremacy. Because let's really be honest, when they want best in class, they know where we are at. And what we are never going to do is, number one, be silent, but reduce ourselves so that they can feel comfortable. That's not going to happen. And Florence is a raging racist as far as I'm concerned. And if she continues to move mad, I will tell her. Because what we are not going to do is allow ourselves to be mistreated in the hope that we will be accepted. If they don't want to accept you, they won't do. But to accept anything less than dignity, it's not too much to ask to be treated like a human being. And it's so easy for some of these organisations and these managers to feel that they can treat us anyhow they want to, because they think we don't have options. And then when they realise we have options and exercise those options, they start coming with their begging bowl. It seems like the begging bowl has arrived in this situation too. If you want to follow me on social media, I am on Instagram. My personal Instagram handle is Toya_Washington. The Toya Talks podcast Instagram handle is Toya_Talks. I'm also on TikTok, Toya Washington, all one word. And of course, the birthplace of Toya Talks, which is Snapchat, Toya Washington, all one word. If you want to tweet me, my Twitter handle is Toya_W with the hashtag Toya Talks podcast or Toya Talks. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for allowing me to share. Thank you for the laughs. And I'll see you all again next week, Tuesday, for a brand new episode of the Toya Talks podcast. My name is Toya Washington, and you have been listening to the Toya Talks podcast.